So we're going to move on to our final movie. This one is Due Date, starring Zach Galifianakis and
Robbie DJ.
Robbie DJ. All right, so this is a movie. It's directed by Todd Phillips. Phillips. Man, you have terrible handwriting.
I really do.
Todd Phillips, and he's the one who did The Hangover.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
Old School.
And Old School. Wow, I should have known that. But this is another great golden gem by him, I'm gonna say. It stars Robert Downey Jr., as we said, or Robbie DJ.
Robbie DJ.
Okay, I'm not gonna remember that, but he is about to have a child and is across the country on some business trip. So he has to get across country to his pregnant wife, who's having a C-section on Friday, and it's Wednesday or something. Mm-hmm. So it's a couple days. So he hops on his plane, and he's about to go. And as he's going there, he gets runs into Zach Galifianakis character, who's just, I want to say
socially inept.
Very socially. He's just not all there, and he just
borderline insane.
Causes a lot of trouble by accident. He's the side humor piece that just, what is the protagonist's, he's the antagonist, I guess, but accidentally. Sort of. He doesn't really mean to be, but he just does a lot of weird things. And so he gets put on a no-fly list, which gets him removed from the plane, and he has to then travel across country with Zach Galifianakis because he doesn't have his wallet, and Zach Galifianakis has the rental car. So it's very similar to the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles kind of storyline, put in there with the eccentricities and sexual humor of the Old School and Hangover. So I'd say it's a good blend of the two, kind of like that 80s awkward humor with the nowadays over-the-top hilarity, random humor. And these guys' adventure, progresses, and they bond and fight and break up. Very boyfriend, girlfriend kind of quality to
bromance.
It. A bromance. It's got a good There you go. It's a great bromance / comedy, and I really do.
Road movie.
I definitely give this one up there in the definitely a B+ range.
B+, okay. I'm going to go with a B-. I liked it. I thought it was funny. I laughed a few times throughout the movies pretty well. Actually, surprisingly, I thought the funniest performance of the whole thing was Juliette Lewis's whole drug dealer, pot dealer, kind of like that, with her kids and Robert Downey Jr. and how some of the stuff that goes on there. I thought that was actually probably the funniest bit in the whole movie. I thought towards the second half of the movie, I was getting less into it. As their characters start to bond and they get over their differences and stuff like that, I didn't really buy it. I didn't buy that whatever was causing those character changes would have really worked in their circumstances. And I had a hard time wondering, why does Robert Downey Jr.'s character stay in this situation? I know there's easier ways that he could get out of this situation, especially early on in the picture. But you put those kind of things aside, you suspend your disbelief, and you allow the movie to happen. And I think the material is kind of weak and a little cliched and a bit rhinoceros. But I think that their performances and their chemistry, because they're such good actors, they're such good comedic actors, they elevate the material. I think with anybody else playing these parts, I mean, you throw in, I don't know, name off 2 mediocre popular actors.
Mediocre.
No. Okay, maybe that was a little too much on the spot.
Apparently.
I think if you threw in 2 mediocre popular actors who weren't as good as these two, this wouldn't even be a C+. This wouldn't even be a C- maybe. But since these actors are so good, they're actually able to take this material and do something with it. We have seen these kind of road movie comedies a lot before. I mean, the obvious one's Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, because this is almost, I dare say, like a pseudo remake. Yeah. But you also with Tommy Boy and Black Sheep and a few other movies like that. The Harold and Kumar movies, and I mean, we've seen this kind of plot go a lot, and there are some moments of clichéness, but one thing I think is worth mentioning is Todd Phillips. He's more than just your average, 2-shot show two guys in a car arguing sort of director. He actually likes to do some things with the camera every once in a while, and he has some good, nice helicopter shots and swooping landscape shots, and it kind of makes the movie feel a little bit more epic than it really is. And I guess maybe he's kind of trying to dress it up a little bit, put a little ribbon on the present to make it seem like it's not something you've seen 100 times. But I think that he kind of sort of did the same thing in The Hangover too, and I think that's in a way sort of becoming his style, the way the atmosphere and these landscapes, the sort of affect the story and the characters. But
yeah, I found a lot of the jokes. I mean, they're placed so well. I think there's a lot of good timing between Zach Galifianakis, where they just. And the movie has good. I don't know. I was laughing a lot during this movie. So, I just don't want to get. There's a lot of these really good jokes, but I can't give them away.
Yeah, half of them are in the preview,
yeah.
And which is sort of another complaint, but
yeah, but
that's more just a marketing problem, which that's a whole different episode.
Whole different episode. Marketing problem episode.
Yeah,
we'll remember that. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie just because of. I mean, right now Zach Galifianakis is huge, and I love. And
he's only growing and growing and growing.
I just love his kind of humor and his just awkward nature. That's what I liked most about this. Is it was awkward humor and not embarrassing humor. Like parts of it, you kind of embarrassed for the character, but it more was the awkward tension between the two versus just sitting there going, "Oh God, this is embarrassing. When will it end?" It didn't drag on jokes and a lot of stuff that. A lot of comedies like this like to do, where they just, they get something funny and they just keep dragging it on.
And push it a little further, push it a little further. I thought there were a few moments like that, though. And especially towards the second half of the movie. And there's some moments where it gets really over the top. Specifically, a certain breakout scene.
Yeah, that was...
where they accidentally cross the border to Mexico and they have to find their way back. Some of that stuff gets a little over the top, and as grounded as the first half of the movie felt, I was like, pretty sure these guys would be in prison about now.
Yeah, a little bit unbelievable, but
yeah,
it made me happy. Just I was willing to accept the unbelievableness just for the joke.
Yeah.
So all right, so that is our 3D show today.
Rhinoceros.
Thank you, Jed, for being our rhinoceros presentation. And don't forget to check us out on youtube.com/videoclerks.